Hello, my name is Bosko Popovic. I'm energy healing coach and teacher. And in this video, I'm going to continue talking about the negative emotions and what you can do to protect yourself from the damaging effects of a continuous dwelling in negative emotions. And before I actually start talking about the subject of this video, which is a powerful technique that you can use in order to start to break up the negative cycle build up, both within your mental and emotional and even spiritual faculties, as well as your inner subcellular programming that comes with the continuous dwelling in negative emotions. So before I do that, I would just like to remind you to visit and watch my previous videos in where I've shared a lot of information concerning the origins and how the negative emotions come to be. And if you really want to understand the whole history, I would then urge you to watch the ones that concern the stress, because that is the root cause of everything. And of course, the negative thinking or negative thoughts and so on and so forth, which, if not resolved at a particular stage of your mental descending or degradation, if you wish, then of course you are going to get to the further down on that particular level of how can I say, the mental erosion by becoming overwhelmed by negative emotions, which are the direct consequence of a continuous self-neglect. So, what is it that basically that can actually help you to start the process of effectively reversing the whole process of self-neglect and start to create some form of empowerment, which is extremely important for you to start to combat not only negative emotions, but literally everything that might compromise your overall mental, physical, emotional, and even spiritual connections and on your energy levels, because everything, as I talked in the previous videos, is pure energy. So the emotions, or the negative emotions per se, are form of non-native energy that actually occupies your proper native energy, and with that distorts the whole field, and then it actually creates the various mental and physical dysfunctions in the body in the continuity of you dwelling in negative emotions. But I already talked about it in my previous videos, so in this video I'm not going to talk about it anymore. So the technique that is very powerful and that can actually provide you a quite a good start to becoming aware that something is not right is to start to, as I said in my previous videos, to slow down. That's very, very important. What I mean by slowing down is by making an attempt, and by the way, on the next video I'm going to talk about some exercises which will help you to run this particular technique. But I'm going to do this technique first, and then I'm going to provide you with the exercises. Is that the problem is that we are actually accumulating on a neurological level that are start exasperating our inability to cognitively process information in a correct manner, is because of the constant how can I say, the high frequencies of your brain working, which means your brain is constantly active or super active at all times, and it actually operates at a very high level. And it does that, it actually then creates the so-called pressure through your endocrine system or your hormonal system onto your central nervous system and every single inner organ by destabilizing the overall communication from within, the so-called inner communication between yourselves. In some way, it creates the so-called SOS response, or the basically the fight or flight, which is the stress response in the body, and that then goes back into your brain as a feedback, and then this vicious cycle continues on and off. As that happens, you're going through not only stress, but you're actually starting to have a deformity of how you observe your external life or the situations coming into your life without having the ability to correctly assess what is possible, what you can do in order to start resolving problems that you're having in here and now. And inability, as you're unable to do that, you're actually building the pressure. That pressure escalates into now negative emotions, and then the whole cycle now gets more or less completed, and it then becomes a vicious circle that just spins around and gets you further and deeper into your psychophysical destabilization. It is not something that you want, because with a continuous lack of a self-belief, the continuous inability to act in a highly congruent manner, you're actually undermining yourself, not only at a mental level, emotional, but also at a physical level. So in order to counteract all that, it is important that you start at least doing some basic forms of mental, sort of like I say, the mental and the physical relaxation through the breath works. As I said, in my next video, I'm going to give you some examples of the exercises that you can actually use to start this particular process. But for now, any form of breath work will actually help you to start to slow your brain wave activity down. Now, it is worth to note that this is not going to happen immediately, nor in a short period of time, if you have allowed yourself to become overwhelmed mentally, emotionally, and so for quite a long period of time. In that case, it is very likely that you are actually operating at a very high level, and that means that it will take you quite some time and a quite good quality work in order to start to interfere and to break into this particular dominant factor that controls your brain wave activity. So for that reason, you really have to be very patient and determined, and you need to believe in yourself despite the fact that you're not seeing results in the short term. Because remember, the pills are only working for a very short period of time before you need to take another one and another one. And as you continue doing that, their effect shortens, which means that they're now the duration of the actual so-called relaxation when you're taking the pills shortens. But the danger that comes with that particular therapy is that you're polluting your inner body chemistry and you're disturbing your endocrine system or your hormonal system by intaking pharmaceutical products. So If you're trying to compare this with the pharmaceutical products, I would stop there and say, you're wasting your time, because this is organic, and for this it takes time, but this works in perfect harmony with your body. Unlike pharmaceutical products, they do not work at all in harmony with your body. It works against your body in some way. So, as that is the case, it is very important, like I said, to believe in the process, work on it, and over a period of time, when your body is ready, it will respond. And that is just the building up the actual energetic momentum in which it will then start to overwhelm, which is your native energy, which is the one you're building with this practice of deep and slow breathing. You're now sort of like in my previous videos I explained that how you're cleaning your energy, and I'll explain in the next video more. But basically here for now is you're actually recycling the negative energy, you're bringing the positive, your native energy back into your field, and that is a slow process which creeps in. And as it continues to come and advance, you will proportionally start to see the difference. And that is going to come slowly knocking on, and you will then feel progressive relaxation coming into your body. And with that will start to come a clarity of what is going on in your reality. Now, this is where the actual mental exercise comes into place. When you start to create this particular clarity, and as I say in my next video, I'm going to do and show you the 3 physical exercises and 1 mental exercise, which is part of this one here. Basically, what you're doing is now you are bringing in the tool, the mental tool, that will start to question whatever it is you are experiencing in your mind here and now. What I mean with that is, when you are overwhelmed in your regular duties and whatever you're doing on a daily basis, it is highly likely that you will, first of all, not going to notice that you are going through a quite negative self-talk, which resulted you in a very inappropriate negative emotions, which are painting the picture of whatever it is you're doing now. And as you see that, whatever it is that you're projecting from within yourself, you're now effectively having the same feedback from the environment back to you, which confirms to you inadvertently that whatever you are thinking of yourself, that you can, that you cannot, and do whatever it might be, you're getting now a so-called energetic confirmation from the outside, which then sets in and cements your belief that whatever it is that you're thinking and processing internally is now validated from outside. And that becomes your belief. This is your kind of like invisible wall that you are building around yourself, that are creating even more pressure that will actually get you into a very difficult mental situation, which will then disable you physically to go forward in whichever direction you want. With this exercise, when you start to calm down, you will automatically start to see that whatever it is that you're processing is not really or 100% correct to what you are experiencing here and now in your physical reality. This is the number 1 observation point that you need to be aware of. First of all is, where are you now? For instance, I'm now in my study and I'm just cognitively processing everything that is in here. Meaning, and one most important question is, am I in any form or way, whatever it might be, in danger of anything? And the first answer to me is no. So if I'm now going through and having the negative emotions or whatever they might be, what is the actual purpose of these negative emotions if I'm sitting in a very safe place? That's something I need to ask myself here and now. Why am I experiencing negative? And I need to now go even deeper in and question what those negative emotions are. And they might be, I'm getting a, I don't know, rent bill coming soon. Maybe, I don't know, the utility bills, or I don't know, the car repair bill or something like that. And I'm projecting that when all these things come through in a couple of days, I will not be able to pay them. That's my projection. But if I further calm down and reduce my brainwave activity and start calming down, all that fog of fear will start to dissipate. Then I can think and say to myself the following: what is my current financial situation? This is an example. Okay, I can pay whatever. I can pay, let's assume it comes to £2,000 or something like that, and I only can pay £1,000. Where am I going to find the other £1,000? I have multiple options. Whatever my income is at the moment, is this, where am I going to come up with another £1,000? And I need to now be focused in terms of finding the solution. And I'm going to be doing some extra hours, or I'm going to take a loan, or whatever it may be that I need to do in order to resolve this particular problem. But I have to sit down and I have to be mindful of the fact that this is the problem that I can resolve, provided that I have a clarity of thinking and a cognitive ability to correctly estimate and see my situation, what I'm doing now, where am I at this particular moment, what do I anticipate is coming, what is the gap in terms of what needs to be bridged, and what needs to be bridged, how am I going to find the way to resolve this particular deficiency, and for how long it will take me to do that. This is some way of stabilizing your thought process, but not only your thought process, stabilizing your emotional response. And as you continue to do so by stabilizing, first of all, your thought process, your emotional response, you will then eliminate stress, or you will control the stress, which is all literally interconnected and cannot be separated. But that all has to come from constant working on your physical attributes, on your physical body first, because that is the seat of all your cognitive abilities. And once you are in control of your physical body, then you can implement various other mental techniques that can actually help you from a different angles to observe the problem and see what options do you have open to effectively resolve that problem. And this is the point of what I spoke again in my previous video as well, is of empowerment, because with the constant application, you are basically keeping the tab on your brain wave activity, and with that you're actually in full control of your physical health. As you're in full control of your physical health, you're creating a so-called homeostasis and ideal or healthy structure for you to go forward. And as you continue to do so, you are able to build a more positive and more structured self-belief. And when you grow in your self-belief, you're automatically reducing your brain activity, and with that you're controlling your thoughts, and you're now in control of your emotions. That is the key for you to kind of like start to close down all these different moving parts and to really put them to some sort of accountability and make them work for you in the way just how they are meant to work for you. Not against you, but for you. But you really have to take the charge of that and assume the role that you're the one who captains your life, not the other way around. Life doesn't control you, you control the life. And how you control the life? Through the clever use of all your mental, physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual faculties that you have. And when you start to gain that particular control, you are now in control of not only yourself, but to some degree, you are now controlling the outcomes that will be coming your way. You cannot, of course, control everything 100%. It's quite almost impossible, but you can control a greater deal, provided that you are in the moment at any time, because there's no time except the present moment. And when you are in the moment, you don't have a time to go through the stress, negative emotions, or negative thinking, because all your focus is on what you're going to do to maximize your performance and your outcome in any moment in time, here and now. And as you continue to do so on an instant-to-instant basis, you're creating a greater level of self-empowerment. And that is the process which will effectively neutralize your negative thinking and emotions, and you will then start to become calmer, more composed, focused, and in charge. As I said earlier in this video, in my next video I'm going to share with you the 4 powerful exercises that you can do that will actually help you to achieve this. And as you continue to do them, you will see the greater benefits in terms of the starting the process of self-empowerment. Having that control of all negative aspects that the life is bringing to you. Until next video, all the very best.